In Chapter 8 of Oliver Twist, Dickens left within the plot an unstoried pocket of time. Perhaps its existence was brought about without intention. Perchance, Dickens's reasons were of a narratological nature that aligned with his realist sensibilities. Whatever the case, this unstoried moment, which I will refer to as a plot cavern, creates a seamless opportunity for creative writers who are expanding a text using a new historicist approach to more accurately describe the society, people, and cultures that influence the text. In this way, the plot cavern creates an opening to insert within the shadows of the text plot an alternate text world that is not restricted to the political biases of the author's time. For the aforementioned reasons, my short story entitled On the Road to London, Oliver Encounters Colored Britain, is a sidequel to Chapter 8. On the Road to London aims to integrate historical, sociological, and anthropological research into the plot of Oliver Twist, so that its storyline more factually depicts the diversity of 19th century Britain. Further, On the Road to London is purposed to persuade what Michel Foucault refers to as epistemes, which is defined as the structures of thought that shape everyone and everything within a culture. Being as such, my project is especially interested in the correction of epistemes that have negated the Negro's contribution to the achievements and advancements of Victorian society. As to not depart too far from Dickens's storyline, a span of documented yet unstoried time has been selected for On the Road to London. In Chapter 8, Oliver encounters a turnpike man and a benevolent old woman during his 70-mile walk from the Sowerberry's home to London. Oliver walked for 7 days before approaching the outskirts of London. During that time, he spent what appears to be 3, possibly 4 nights in the company of the turnpike man and the benevolent old woman. In On the Road to London, the turnpike man and the benevolent old woman will be depicted as Negroes. The turnpike man, who henceforth will be referred to as Adam, and the benevolent old woman as Beverly. Adam and Beverly, both in their late 60s, befriend Oliver and will care for him for 3 days. During Oliver's time with them, Oliver will learn of the beauty and struggles of the Victorian Negro population. Without further ado, Chapter 1 of On the Road to London, Oliver Twist Encounters Colored Britain. The treatment for this chapter is Oliver encounters On the Road to London, Colored Benevolence. By the time Adam and Beverly found Oliver Twist, he was desperately hungry and his shoes had given way. Oliver had walked nearly 45 miles over the course of 4 days. 45 long miles that were made all the more harsh by winter, more cruel by way of the cold, hard ground and the frosted hearts of men, and made all the more unbearable by the severe loneliness that only a young, tender, homeless child can feel when all alone in a frigid world. Beverly looked down upon the boy with his battered feet, saw the forming of blisters, the chafed skin, and thought of her own grandson. A soreness sprang up in her heart and brought with it all fear and all doubt. It was a dangerous thing for Negroes to extend themselves toward the helping of others, especially ones not of their own skin, especially a young white boy on the King's Highway. Beverly knew this. She knew this all too well. Her own grandson, Corlander, who along with a small group of African Negroes was shipwrecked somewhere near the Arabian Sea, and walking, not wondering, determinedly walking in search of a place outside of the Empire's reach, where they could learn and grow without the distraction and destruction of the small-minded enemies of darker-skinned brethren. However, this boy needed help. Being Christians, neither Adam nor Beverly could leave him as they found him. Adam reached deep underneath a pile of meticulously folded and cared-for cloths, pulled out a small pine box, and presented as if precious and perfect treasure a wax paper bundle. With careful hands full of grace, he folded down 2 pieces of wax paper, first one and then the other. To the knowing and the hungry, the cheese in all of its delicious, pungent glory, sharp and savory, is indeed more precious than gold, and the bread, hearty and filling, is more necessary than any currency. From the tall, elderly, cocoa-skinned gentleman with long, lanky fingers and flat, wide palms, Oliver accepted the offering with 2 hands. After hugging both their legs, he gently devoured both the cheese and the bread with thanksgiving. Beverly asked him, "What are you doing here, child?" Oliver explained that his desire was to reach London, and tearfully exacted his recollections of the workhouse, the sour berries, and his conviction to pursue a life unlike in every way the one he had suffered thus far. Beverly and Adam understood his yearning so deeply that their melanin tingled. They saw within his eyes a reflection of the fire that burned in their own. Beverly said to Oliver, "Young man, what is your name?" "Oliver Twist," he replied while removing his hat and looking into her eyes. "Please excuse me, ma'am, for not having told you before." Adam, kneeling eye level to Oliver, said, "Do not worry about that, son. We know what it is like to be hungry. Sometimes the mind and the manners fail to operate properly until the business of nourishing the body has been completed." Oliver responded, "Yes, sir," and placed his hand on Adam's shoulder and thanked him kindly. Beverly, moved by Oliver's sense and respectfulness, offered him a moment of rest in their community. What she referred to as a patch of hard-working Negroes tucked down in the hollow not far from the creek. Oliver's eyes teared at the opportunity to spend time with these kind, black-skinned people. Memories of darkened rooms, cold and wet, flashed before his eyes. He looked down at the crushed grass where he had been lying before their carriage came along, and remembered feeling forsaken until their generosity, their human kindness, beckoned him from that desolate place. Oliver had not ever been so close to skin the color of chestnut hulls, nor had he ever seen human hair like that of a sheep's wool. In this regard, they were strange and peculiar beings. However, within them shone what he had heard of 1,000 times over, but had never seen: more. Adam and Beverly had more care, more love, more grace, more kindness than all the people all together, for all the years he'd been alive. He didn't know where home was for them, but he knew he had to go to see where more comes from. Thank you for listening to my presentation. This concludes Chapter 1 of On the Road to London, Oliver Twist Encounters Colored Britain by Solomon Nalshai Innes Kleizak.